He sighed. The cares of a father were legion. The royal procession had come to a halt at his gesture. Having climbed steadily all morning, relief shone in their faces. Behind the king stood 60,000 men, back and back, reaching so far down the trail he could not see an end to them. Darius had come prepared for war, but found only ashes. Ahead, the dancing women rested, quivering in their exhaustion. One of them had fallen just that morning, dropping to the ground in loose-limbed delirium, then shrieking as carts and men behind passed over. Only the royal elephants had stepped around the broken girl, fastidious in what they chose to crush. Darius knew he didn't have to say a word to his seneschal. Ashar's grim countenance and faint blush was evidence enough of his shame. The mistress of the dancers would certainly be beaten that evening, perhaps bound to a tree and simply left for lions and wolves to find. The others would see her fate and know not to shame the great king in the honor he did them. Darius was no longer the vital young warrior he had once been. As he contemplated climbing down from the rock, he suppressed a wince at the twinge in his hips and lower back. There was a time when he would have leaped down, delighting in his strength. His servants knew him well, however. Steps had been brought as he'd stood and looked out. He walked down then, back straight, his expression perfectly calm. Xerxes watched warily as his father approached, wondering if he would be punished for something only the king could possibly have noticed or cared about. Seated on a pad of stuffed silk, the boy wore just sandals and a kilt of leather studded in gold. Bare-chested, he was a living reminder of youth that could only sour his father's mood further. Servants sprinkled dried lavender and myrtle on the dusty path as the great king approached his son. It was an insult for Darius to be made to look up, but Xerxes seemed frozen in his seat high on the elephant. The enormous young bull swung its head to eye the man at its side. Both boy and beast were at the most awkward of ages. With a gesture, Darius waved the petal servants away. They trembled on the edges of his vision, ready to make the ground fragrant once more, for steps that shook the world. "Come down from there, Xerxes," the great king said softly. His son nodded and put out one hand so that his elephant could see. The trunk curled round, and he stepped onto the muscled length, brought to the ground in perfect smoothness. The boy seemed proud of it. Darius showed no reaction to a trick more suited to the markets or the logging camps. He put his arm around his son's shoulders and walked with him to where he should have been standing, waiting on his father. There Darius rested one hand on the great stone, feeling its warmth. "You see that city?" he said. "Dark with ash." Xerxes made a show of peering into the distance before he nodded, still unbending. Darius found he was proud of the young man who would surely follow him, if Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Wisdom, allowed it. It did not pay to be too sure of the future, aloud or in the most private thoughts. The God of Light heard all. "It is Sardis, the capital of this entire region," he said. "Or it was. It was sacked by an enemy and burned, including the great temple that had stood for 2,000 years. This is why I brought so many soldiers, Xerxes. By tomorrow, every home and temple will be cleared to the foundations. We will rebuild it all." "Who would dare attack one of our cities?" Xerxes asked. "Men of Athens, men of Eretria," his father replied. "The Greeks. I thought... They sent ambassadors here a dozen years ago, asking for friendship. I thought they had agreed to become one of my chosen, my beloved subject peoples. They gave earth and water to my governor, and they went home across the sea. I confess I hardly thought of them after that." The king smiled and tried to ruffle his son's hair. He hid his hurt when Xerxes pulled away. "This is the edge of the world, Xerxes. The sea lies not 2 days from here, and beyond it, lands which have never known the blessing of our laws, our soldiers." He waved an arm over the